Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about DM Bluddworth's Shadowdark session that he ran at the Philadelphia area gaming expo that he invited me into, and that I was able to actually play in. It was in a 4-hour block. He used 3 hours of that block. And today I want to talk about something I didn't like in that Shadowdark session, and it was torches. All right, so let's get into this. So I read Shadowdark, and I have played at 2 tables. I've played in 2 Shadowdark tabletop role-playing experiences, each one session. All right, one with the Dungeon Master Jaren, and one with DM Bluddworth, who I'm talking about in this video. And both of them interacted with this key mechanic in Shadowdark, which is torches. Okay, now when I read Shadowdark, all these old school gamers, these grognards, are all delighted by this torch idea, right? I'm like, first of all, did any of you read Torchbearer? Like, this is not new, right? And then 2, I was kind of like, I don't like this, right? I think it's meaningless. When I read it, I'm like, I don't like this. This is meaningless bookwork. That's not going to matter. And boy, was I right. It didn't matter in Jaren's game at PAX Unplugged, and it didn't matter in DM Bluddworth's game, right? So first of all, I had 2 torches on my sheet, right? Which was a pre-gen sheet, which was given to me. And so we go out, and then he's like, okay, you guys it's nighttime, right? And you're going to have to burn some torches, right? So I think he used 1 torch per night. And I was like, wait a second. The game was like, hey, each torch burns for an hour, right? Which meant that we had 7 players, right? So if each torch is burning for 1 hour, even if we were only doing like 6-hour sleeps, right? Well, you have to do 8 hours. So it's just like Dungeons and Dragons. That's gonna we went 3 days in the game. That should have been 24 torches. On about a day and a half, we should have been all out, right? And first of all, the other thing is, DM Bluddworth's game did not have any dungeons in it, right? So you're running a game that's got a core mechanic that's based on on torches, but the torches don't matter, right? Because you're not in a dungeon, right? Well, what about nighttime? It's dark, right? Well, that should have burned 8 torches on the night, 16 torches on the second, and on the third night should have been 24, and we should have been out at about, I think with the 7 of us, we were carrying 14, which means we shouldn't even have gotten through the second night, right? But just like Jaren's stupid game, and actually, let me back that up. Just like the game Jaren, you know what? I did not like Jaren's game. He did not finish. He had a beginning, a middle, and did not finish the game. You can find my entire breakdown of that game here on my channel. Did not like it because it didn't have an ending, and that's not cool. I am definitely not cool with not having an ending to your, no excuse, man. You run a con game, you better finish the story. And he did not watch the time and allowed it to bleed into the next guys, and they came in and were like, boot, you're out of the table. You should have had a good dungeon master, right? Like, it sucked. It was really bad. Now, DM's Bluddworth was very aware of the time, had a beginning, a middle, and an end, but he didn't use torches. He didn't use torches right? And this is my entire point. The moment I read that, I'm like, and actually, here's my take. Torches are a cool mechanic, but one that it requires the dungeon master to pay very close attention, right? And also, in my humble opinion, do exactly what it says on page 4 of the Dungeon Master Guide. The rules aren't in charge, you are, and adjust it. I actually think that you really need to incent players to really care about torches. If you're going to write it in, make sure it matters. And I think Kelsey didn't do the work to make sure it fully mattered, right? And I've not seen a single and when I read it, I was like, this is going to turn into useless bookkeeping. And that's exactly what happened in Jaren's game, and that's exactly what happened in DM Bluddworth's, right? I had these torches on, I never used them in the entire game, and we never had any problem with the darkness. I was like, this is useless bookkeeping. And so I was a little frustrated that exactly what I realized would happen the moment I read the book absolutely happened in both games. So this thing, and I think people should just be like, hey, I know the game talks about torches being important, but the reality is nobody can get this to work. So in this game, don't worry. If you want to throw out your torches and put something useful into those inventory slots, go ahead and do it, because they're not going to matter in this game, right? Unless you are an extremely good dungeon master and you can make this work, right? Which I ain't witnessed yet. It wasn't with Jaren, and it wasn't with the Bluddworth. The torches did not matter, right? And the only reason I'm bringing it up here is that the second I read it in the book, I'm like, this is going to be useless bookkeeping. This is just like people counting their arrows. This is stupid. It's not useful. It is not useful, in my humble opinion. I want to take back the term stupid. It's not useful. It shouldn't be in the game. It's a waste of time, right? Not stupid. Nobody involved in making Shadowdark was stupid. DM Bluddworth isn't stupid. Nobody at the table was stupid. Actually, I would say almost anybody connected to TPRPGs are highly unlikely to be stupid, because the opening ante to play Dungeons & Dragons is 1,150 pages. Nobody stupid does that to play a game, right? Or even what they perceive as a game. So, but I definitely think this torches thing, it doesn't work, and it's not useful, in my humble opinion. Every single word you heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.